So I'm down here, and this is Canal Street and Roosevelt. And basically, this is the other side of the 78 where I posted on Tumblr a whole perspective from a guy's video. I added on an incredible amount of stuff to make it a real deal. This train yard that's over here, they would shift the train track to one side, do the build out. It's a dig out, and they would remove and strip away the earth, pour in the permeable foundation and everything, and then when it's ready, the train would go under, and then they would close everything up. They don't need to shift it to the other side. So the last would be the center. They would dismantle the train from there. It would go underground, everything. And above ground would be a development, a la Grant Park, where Millennial Park sits above. But there could be some type of development above it. And then they would revitalize this area, and Pacific Gardens would get a whole makeover in revitalization, making it more beautiful and turning it from a men's shelter into a full-blown church, youth ministry, and they can have AA meetings and NA meetings and Gamblers Anonymous and many other types of organizational meetings, keeping men from going bad. Even, yes, working with Can-Win domestic violence meetings and other things to minimize and nip it in the bud so men don't end up becoming homeless. So my goal is to prevent the need, or minimize it as much as possible, the need for homeless shelters. So let's turn down this way. But basically shrinking it and moving into diversion programs and that early on, catch it early, put them in a diversion program, and keep it from going totally bad. Saving a soul, minimizing their sin, instead of letting them drown themselves and making it literally almost impossible for them to have redemption and go to heaven. So by nipping in the bud, we have people that fall off the wagon only a little bit, and we can get them back on with corrective action as soon as possible, preventing them from really doing damage to their soul. And that means damage to themselves, the desecration of themselves, and hence moving them in the right direction. And we implement this also, since I'm going by a police station that's up here, within to the police force and fire departments around the world, because they have had their problems with alcoholism, drug, and corruption and that. And we can implement it into their systems to help save them from going off course. And so we would start with law enforcement and everything, build it out inside of their system, and then law enforcement can roll it out to the general community, because they can see how it functioned to save officers from going bad and save their marriages and so on and so forth. And they would be the test case, and we would perfect it within them and then roll it out to the general community And as officers get calls in that, they can do diversion programs when they get called for a domestic violence and that, talking to them and giving them pamphlets and instructing that, this is a warning and you can go willingly, and if not, then we'll proceed with the prosecutor into a court-ordered situation. So one way or another, you're going to take corrective action because we don't want to show up at your residence again. And so we want to see your family succeed. We want to see peace and harmony in the community. And our goal as peacemakers and peacekeepers, which law enforcement is supposed to be, peacemakers and peacekeepers, this is our job, and we want to do this. And this creates a situation where law enforcement is no longer hated by the community, but law enforcement is seen as the good guys all the time doing the right thing. And it all started with self-incubation within inside the law enforcement community to perfect it, to roll it out to the general public. So they start by cleaning themselves up and saving themselves, and then roll it out to saving the general public. So this can be implemented as well within the military, the same type of internal system, and then can be moved outward. So I'm looking for the new stadium that's going up on the 78, and I'm wondering what they're going to do with the other side development. But I would like to get to think that Chicago is not a bunch of scumbag pieces of fucking backstabbing, lying, cheating scumbags, and that I can see Chicago and its greatness. Instead, all I see is a bunch of filth. That's what happened over the last 10 years. It's not the direction I've been going for here. But everybody wants to make this city the scumbag haven of the world. And I don't understand it. It's not like other cities can't be great or greater. It's just this city seems to want to be the scumbag center of the world. Because that's what I see with all the extreme tailgating and everything it's done to me through my whole life. I would like to see, and I've been fighting for this since I've been a child, trying to get this on the right direction. I would like to see it actually happen. That it's actually moving in the right direction. And they're not selling out to any movie studio, because they show that Chicago Fire, they have a beautiful studio and old steel facility, and they shoot a lot of the episodes inside this facility. So every so often, they'll do scenes around the city, but that's not standard. And they have the hospital wing there too, for Chicago Med. So it's a big movie studio, TV studio, and then they do their random remotes throughout the city. But the city doesn't have to stay the way it is. LA never did, and it kept on improving. This is not a time capsule. That's what pictures are for. That's what video is for. It's supposed to be moving forward in every way, shape, and form, and leaving any filth behind it. moving to a better world scumbags. Cut me off. So, moving to a better world. So, anyways, this city needs to get with God's plan, or it should just be condemned, and they're going to take the whole wide world down with them. Chicago has the whole wide world in its hands, the whole wide world in its hands. And if I keep on hurting, then Chicago is the incubator of man falling out of any possibility of grace from God to eternal damnation. So is Chicago going to be the incubator for the end of mankind? Or is Chicago going to be an incubator where it does the right thing by me, and that means it does the right thing by the world? So they have to make a choice. Is Chicago going to end all of mankind, or is it going to save mankind? And it is their choice. So they have to make it, because I've been enslaved here and not been able to leave, as my financials have been taken away from me, and I've been impoverished and enslaved. And hence, as God said, whatever I experience is what the world will receive. And if you destroy my life, you destroy the world. He doesn't give a shit, like I came up with this metabolic shield or whatever. He doesn't give a shit about saving everybody else. He gives a shit about saving my life first. The God first premise. What he wants done, thy will be done on earth as is in heaven, comes first. You don't put the cart before the horse. The cart needs to get pulled by the horse. A horse doesn't push a cart. It is not correct. So, if anyone knows that, put a cart in front of the horse. It'll have very difficulty pushing it. It doesn't have hands, and if it takes its hoofs off the ground, it's going to have serious difficulties because it can't change its structure. It's not meant to be upright. It's meant to be on all fours. So you have to put the horse in front of the cart. The God first premise. So either you do that, or you all burn in eternal damnation. You're constantly putting yourself before God. And as I see in the Old Testament, and then I see with Jesus and everything, you're constantly putting yourself before God. In the Old Testament, they constantly did that, and it makes me sick to my stomach. And then in the New Testament, God allowed it through Jesus. But again, man putting themselves first over God. God wants this to reverse. A God first premise, not a you first premise. And so he's watching with me. Will you put me first and foremost? Or will you put yourself first and foremost, and you will step all over me and give me pain and suffering and misery to propel your wickedness, your backstabbing, lying, cheating, and stealing, and making my life a living hell? sleeping in pain, waking up in pain, sleeping in loneliness, no female next to me physically, waking up in loneliness, no female, and every day spending in perpetual loneliness. So, and then you torment me with tailgating, hitting me with the car. You gave me diabetes, neuropathy, arthritis, tinnitus, you name it. I didn't have it in 2015. And I was becoming in great shape. And you destroyed me again. And you keep on destroying me and placing yourself first. When does that stop? When does my life get a chance? You constantly talk about everybody else's life. 24-year-old PCA signing a $115 million contract. Then the second baseman, Nico, 20-something, signing a $141 million contract. When am I going to be able to live my best life? It's a fucking joke. Talk about selfish. It's unbelievably selfish.